Have you ever found yourself in a situation with no way out, where everything seemed hopeless? What if a single act of faith could completely change your life? Today we're going to tell the story of a woman who experienced exactly that. This story comes from the Gospels of Mark 5:25-34 and Luke 8:43-48, where we see how one simple touch of Jesus' cloak transformed her life forever. Stay with us to discover how faith can bring healing and hope, even in the most difficult moments. Before we begin, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, click the button below to follow more stories and lessons that can bring light and transformation to your life. The story starts in a bustling city in ancient Galilee. Jesus, already known for his wisdom and the miracles he performed, was being followed by a large crowd. Men, women, and children pressed around him, each with their own hopes and expectations. But among the crowd was a different woman. We don't know her name, but we know her pain. For 12 long years, this woman suffered from a constant flow of blood. Her body was weak, her soul tired. And to make matters worse, according to the laws of that time, she was considered ritually unclean. This meant that, in addition to her physical suffering, she was socially isolated, unable to participate in the daily life around her. She had spent everything she had seeking a cure. She went to doctors, tried all the available treatments, but nothing worked. All that remained was the pain, the shame, and a growing sense of despair. Her isolation was deep. She couldn't touch anyone, nor be touched, because her condition would make others unclean. It was as if life was slowly being drained from her. But then, a glimmer of hope appeared. She heard about a man named Jesus, who had the power to heal the sick, give sight to the blind, and even raise the dead. In that moment, something sparked in her heart. Maybe, she thought, just maybe, this Jesus could be the answer to her long, painful journey. She decided she would do the impossible to get close to him. She didn't want to be seen, didn't want to draw attention to herself. Her only hope was to touch, even just a little, the clothes of Jesus. If I just touch his garments, I will be healed, she told herself. It was a bold thought, but her faith, even after so much suffering, remained unshaken. With her heart full of faith, the woman quietly made her way toward Jesus, pushing through the crowd. It wasn't easy, but she was determined. Finally, after much effort, she got close enough. She reached out and with the tip of her fingers touched the edge of Jesus's robe. Instantly, something miraculous happened. Her body responded to the touch. The bleeding stopped, and she knew in that moment that she had been healed. After 12 years of pain, she had finally found relief. What doctors couldn't do, her faith in Jesus accomplished. But the story doesn't end there. Jesus stopped. He felt something had happened. "Who touched me?" he asked. His disciples, confused, replied, "Master, the crowd is pressing around you. How can we know who touched you?" But Jesus knew that this touch was different. Power had gone out from him, and he wanted to know who had been healed. Trembling with fear, the woman came forward and fell at Jesus' feet. She knew that, according to society's rules, she shouldn't have touched anyone. But she confessed everything, her condition, her suffering, and what she had done. She feared she might be reprimanded. But Jesus didn't rebuke her. Instead, he looked at her with compassion and said, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering." With these words, Jesus not only confirmed her physical healing, but also restored her emotionally and spiritually. By calling her daughter, he welcomed her back into life, society, and God's grace. She was no longer just the woman with the issue of blood. She was now a daughter of God, healed by faith. Jesus moved on, but that woman walked away changed. Her faith might have seemed small to others, but it was enough to touch the heart of God. This miracle shows us that it doesn't matter how big our problem is, or how lost or isolated we feel. What truly matters is our faith. The story of the woman with the issue of blood is a powerful reminder that God is not distant and that he always sees us, even when we feel invisible. Sometimes all we need is to take a step of faith, no matter how small. Like this woman, we are called to trust that God can transform even the most desperate situations. Now, take a moment to reflect. What burdens have you been carrying for too long in your own life? Are there situations that seem impossible to solve? Maybe it's time to take a step of faith, just like this woman did. Remember, it's not the size of your problem, but your willingness to believe that God can act in your life. If this story touched your heart, I invite you to reflect on how these lessons can be applied to your daily life. Instead of giving in to despair, choose to trust. Sometimes, all we need to do is reach out in faith, and God will take care of the rest. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, be sure to join us and continue exploring the Bible's teachings and lessons for life. Thank you for watching. I hope this story has inspired you to seek faith, even in the hardest moments. We'll see you in the next video, where we'll continue our journey through the miracles and teachings that change lives. May God bless your journey of faith.